Studies of the infinite number pi with Yehoshua. That's me. Yehoshua, Josh, Leon. Yehoshua is my Hebrew name. And I study pi. I study the numbers of pi, and I speculate whether there's it's planned out. If there's an intelligent designer, creator, put every single digit in pi where it is, where it's supposed to be, for a reason. Some people think it's a random number, it's just an infinite number that never repeats, goes on and on. And but others think that there's actually knowledge in it. There's it's made by design, and that's where I find myself. So I study the number pi. I try to remember as many digits as possible, and I was going forward to more and more, and now I decided to go just kind of backtrack a little bit, and to find out if a number is significant, then I'll go back. Like I was going to say, I started at, let's say, 300, and then every day I was increasing, and I got up to about 624, I think. Yeah, I think 624. And then there was a meaningful number that happened at 314, so I went back to 314. So anyway, I'm holding it, I'm even going back further today to 224. That's the number that came today, and that's really what this pi is all about. It's all about how can it be used to gain understanding and knowledge of numbers and words and letters through a practice known as gematria, which is assigning numerical values to letters and words. So today, is what I do is my general method is to come up with sentences, English and Hebrew, words and sentences, translate them into a number. When I get the result, I have a bunch of statements, words or phrases, and I see them together and see if they're connected. Sometimes they're completely not connected, and that's okay, because if they have the same number, that's all you need. It could be completely different, and what I compare that to is something that happened in last week's Torah portion. Is a different types of animals that Jacob had. There was ringed, spotted, speckled, and these in Kabbalah they call that Nikudim, Akudim. There's different worlds, and I take it into my own process to different methods of acquiring information. It can be ringed, spotted, like Akudim is like they have a little ring around their foot. They just have one stripe, and they're completely different, but they have one stripe that identifies them. So it could be like Akudim would be comparable to, let's just say two things are completely different, but they have one thing in common, which is their number. They're equal to the same, so that's fine. And that's kind of a little bit chaotic, because what does basketball have to do with a mouse? What does basketball have to do with a mouse? What does ink have to do with a yard-side candle? They're completely, they're just different things. But if they equal the same number, what you would do is you'd see them together. Okay. By the way, I said yard-side. I'm not sure if everyone out there knows what yard-side is. Yard-side is the anniversary of one's passing, of someone's passing that we know, either lived many years ago, or a loved one, or relative, or sometimes just different people that are prominent. For instance, righteous people celebrate, and they light a candle. A candle is lit sometimes in the memory of them. But anyway, speaking of yard sites, today, the 12th of Kislev, is the yard site of Rabbi Avraham Dov Avrich. And I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. It's Avrich or Avrich, but anyway, the number today is 224. So 224, and Okay, 224 equals this. How can Ethereum, it's a type of cryptocurrency, right? And Bitcoin. How can Ethereum be effective in lowering the price of Bitcoin? That has a numerical value of 224 in Chaldean gematria. Chaldean, it's a certain type of gematria, happens to be cipher 34. The number is 224. And then I get 224. Now I'm able to take that 224 and say, how can I apply that to today? Well, guess what? Remember that rabbi I told you his yard site is today, Rabbi Avram Dov of Avridge, and he made Aliyah. He lived in Safed in the last days of his life. Survived a great earthquake, and I think it was a fire, and he miraculously put it out, or maybe he helped after the earthquake, something like that. But anyway, there was something that I think he sacrificed his own life. I think, like he was sick, and he said, and it was a plague. I think that's what it was, a plague. And he said he was the last one who would die of the plague. Maybe he was like anyway, he was a saintly man, a great Talmud Chacham, a great scholar, Torah, a pious individual, and he passed away today, back in, I don't know when, a few hundred years ago, 1840, I think. Yeah. So in Hebrew prime number gematria, Average, the city he came from, equals 224. So I'm already connecting now. Ethereum can be effective in lowering the price of Bitcoin? How can Ethereum be effective in lowering the price of Bitcoin? Is now linking onto that. It's akudim, because they have nothing to do with each other except they have one thing, 224 in common, and they're in different ciphers also. But in this cipher and this cipher, they both have the same number. Okay, now let's go further. Once I ask the question, how can Ethereum be effective in lowering the price of Bitcoin, which equals 224 in Chaldean gematria? Now I see another 224. It comes up. Ariel Cohen plus Chaim Dinovich. They had a conversation like 5 years ago around Shua's time, a little before Shua's time. I think it was May 27th, around there. Maybe it was after Shavuos. So it was around Shavuos time. 5 years ago, in 2020. And guess what? Ariel Cohen plus Chaim Dinovich equals 224 in Mispar Seder. That's Hebrew ordinal gematria. But it's still the same number, 224. So now I access that. That comes up now. It's going to stick. These are akudim. I think for now, sometimes you could say there's different ways of saying it. You could say nikudim, speckles are different spots, but I personally like to see that different things are different as the akudim. Okay? And then there's another one that came to mind, I knew this on the top of my head, is Yaakov and Leah. Yaakov to Leah in Hebrew equals 224 in regular gematria, and guess what? Last week we had Yaakov and Leah, and also this week a little bit. Trying to think about how much Leah comes up in this week, but certainly she's definitely in the picture, even if we're not talking about her that much. But anyway, so that's the idea behind. So that's why that number 224 is trending, and that's why I take that 224 and I plug it into the infinity pi matrix, which I have right here. And this is my breakdown of pi, because after all, if all letters can be numbers, then every single thing is in pi, right? All those things I just spoke about, they're in pi. Where are they? 224. Where's 224? 224 is the 224th digit. That's how you identify 224. You start counting. I count from the 3, and then I count 224 digits into it. What do I come to? I come to the let's see here, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75th word. A word is a 3-digit number. It's 70, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the 75th word, which equals Cohen, which I also have a big thing with Cohen today. Cohen in Hebrew, 75. The 75th word of the infinity pi matrix is 847, which is in Skokie, which I'm not sure what that has to do with it, but whatever, it's true. 847 is area code in Chicago, Skokie. But anyway, the 224th digit is 4. So that's where it's going to go to today. So now the recitation of the first 224 digits of pi. I start counting from the 3. 3 is the first digit for me. 3 is the first digit for me. 314-159-265-358-979-323-846-264 338-327-959-377-510-582-097-494-459 230-78-99628-036-482 70938450504852110 964-462-294-895-493 038-196-442-810-976-593-344-612-84